Girivardhan Hari Yasodhanandana Raja Janaranjana Yasodhanandana Raja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivajakacharya Ashtotara Sarasya A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki. Shri Prabhupada ki, Shri Shri Gauranitai ki, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki, Shri Shri Radhasham Sundar ki, Shri Mad Bhagavatam ki, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki, Shri Brihat Madanga ki, Gaura Premanandi, all glorious to the assembled devotees, all glorious to Shri Gauranga Ranga, all glorious to Shri Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prastaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta, Swaminiti Namane, Namaste Saraswate Devi, Gauravani Pacharine, Nirvasesha Sunyavadi, Pastacharya Shatarne, Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, this morning we're reading from the third canto, chapter number 5, text number 4. Correct? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vidura's talks with Maitreya. Kindly repeat. Tat Sadhuvaya Adisha Vartma Sham Naha Sangraditaha Bhagavan Yena Pungsam Vedistitaha Yachati Bhaktipute Jnanam Sa Tattva Adigamam Puranam Tat Sadhuvayadishu Vatma Sangna Sangradito Bhagavan Yena Pungsam Vedistito Yachati Bhakti Pute Jnanam Satatvadigamam Puranam Tat Sadhuvaya Dishavatma Sangpanaha. No, wrong meter. Back to the other one. Tak Sadhuvaya Dishavatma Sangha Sangradito Bhagavan Yena Pungsam Vedistito Yachati Bhakti Pute Jnanam Satatvadigamam Puranam Tat Sadhuvayadisha Vatma Sangha Sangradito Bhagavan Yena Pungsam Vidistito Yachati Bhakti Pute Jnanam Satatvadigamam Puranam
Samradito Bhagavane Pungsam Vidistito Yachati Bhakti Pute
Jnanam
Sadhuvayadishavatma Sangha
Sadhuvayadishavatma Sangha
Samradito Bhagavan Yena Pumsam
Samradito Bhagavan Yena Pungsam
Hridistito Yachati Bhakti Pute
Hridistito Yachati Bhakti Pute
Satattvadigamam Purana
Yanang Satatvadigamang Puranam. Yes, go for it. Tatsadvayadi Shavatmasam Samradito Bhagavan Yena Pungsam Distito Yachati Bhakti Pute Yanang Satatvadigamang Puranam.
Sadhu Varyajishvarma Samna Samradito Bhagavan Samradito Bhagavan Hridistito Yachati Bhakti Pute
Hridistito Yachati Bhakti Pute Ladies. Samradito Bhagavan Yena Pungsam Hridistito Yachati Bhakti Pute Yanam Satatvadigamang Puranam Tatsarvayadishavatmasangna Samradito Bhagavan Yena Pungsam Hridistito Yachati Bhakti Pute Yanam Satatvadigamam Puranam Tatsarvayadishavatmasangna Samradito Bhagavan Yena Pungsam Hridistito Yachati Bhakti Pute Yanam Satatvadigamam Puranam. Tat, therefore, Sadhuvarya, a great one amongst the saints, Adisha, please instruct, Vartma, the path, Sham, auspicious, Naha, for us, Samraditaha, being perfectly served. You can see the word Radha contained there, the topmost servant to the topmost devotion. Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Yena, by which. Pungsam, of the living entity. Hridistitaha, residing in the heart. Yachati, awards. Bhakti Pute, unto the unalloyed devotee. Jnanam, knowledge. Sa, that. Tattva, truth. Adhigamam, by which one learns. Puranam, authorized, old. Their translation and purport. Let's see if I know this is a purport. Let's see. Yes, there is. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, O great sage, please give me instruction on the transcendental devotional service of the Lord, so that he who is situated in the heart of everyone can be pleased to impart from within knowledge of the absolute truth in terms of the ancient Vedic principles delivered only to those who are purified by the process of devotional service. My goodness, what a verse, huh? Many different points are put forward there by Vidura. And let's see what Prabhupada says. Maybe we'll go back again to the points. Purport. As already explained in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the absolute truth is realized in 3 different phases, although they are one and the same, in order, in terms of the knower's capacity to understand. Some of you may know that verse from the 2nd chapter of the 1st canto. Who knows that famous verse of Sutta Goswami? Vadanti tat vidas. Prameti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdite. That's the line. Those learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth know that in 3 phases, Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Not just Brahman or Paramatma, but all 3. Devotees understand all 3. Though we may not, you could say, exactly worship the Brahman or the Paramatma indirectly, or following instruction of the Paramatma, yes, you could say. But we don't kind of like, because how can you install a deity of the Paramatma? Maybe 4-armed Narayan form of deity. Our goal is Bhagavan. The most capable transcendentalist is the pure devotee of the Lord, who is without any tinge of fruitive actions or philosophical speculation. Who knows that verse? Anyavilasita shunyam jnana kamajana vitam anukulena krishnanushilanam. Yeah, so that's in one sense the most essential verse so many, but in one sense to understand the nature of devotional service, that's fundamental. There's another verse in the Bhagavad Gita which describes the topmost yogi. What's that? Yoginam api sarvesham Shraddhavan Yo me What does it mean?
Of all the yogis, one who meditates upon me within his heart, always he is the topmost of the yogis, and that is my opinion.
Something like that. Yeah, he's the topmost, the devotee who, fixed in devotional service, meditating on the personality of God. He's the topmost of the yogis, jnanis and karmis, everything. By devotional service only does one's heart become completely purified from all material coverings. All material coverings. Not just karma, but even the desire for jnana and yoga. What's a famous verse also in Nectar of Devotion? Sarva Upadi, who knows that verse? Tatparvena Nimam. That all, by the performance of devotional service, engaging our senses in the service of Krishna, all these various upadis are been delivered. You're freed from all these upadis, these various false designations, and one's heart becomes cleansed. Heart becomes purified by devotional service alone. Of course, Prabhupada then says, only in such a purified stage does the Lord, who is seated in everyone's heart with the individual soul, give instruction. This is very interesting. Give instruction so that the devotee can reach the ultimate destination of going home back to Godhead. Back home, back to Godhead. The Lord in the heart gives instruction. More on that later. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, and that's on the board, so you don't have to remember that one. 10:10. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami yena mam viyanti te. Oh, and what does that mean?
Those who always engage in worshipping the Lord, Krishna says that he will give them
with love.
with love.
No. Pretty Purvakam, that's the key thing in the whole verse. Carry on.
Krishna gives them intelligence, and in the end they attain Krishna.
You word it a little differently, anyone else? That's the gist of it. So those who are constantly devoted and worship with love, I give
the intelligence by which
the understanding by which they can come to me. The understanding. Yes. There are many verses, many things you can hear, but to understand what is the right step is a journey, and you've got to know what the next step is. Knowing what the step 50 kilometers down the line is okay, you can keep that on hold, but that's not going to help you. 50 kilometers down the road it says turn left, but right now you've got to turn right or go straight on. So we've got to know which turn it is, where we are, isn't it? We're always faced with this dilemma. It's always there to some degree. Maybe we've already going full steam ahead, and generally devotees will find that in their lives. Most of you have not been practicing in this lifetime. Some of you have. I don't know how many years you've all been in this movement. How many years have you been in the Hare Krishna movement in this life?
8 years.
8 years. How many?
3.
3. How many?
2.
2. How many? Behind. 8. And behind? Keep going backwards. Huh?
He's born
2.
into it.
Huh?
He's born into it.
Pardon?
He's born into it.
Your family are devotees. So you were one of the special good fortune. At the back, Kalki? 12. That's long. You're an old man. Next one? 2. Next one? Almost 2 years old. Next one? The back? Huh? 8 years. 5? Back on this line? Oh my goodness. You're antique. Next one? Huh? Almost 1. You're a baby. A baby is. Next one? 5. You said 2. Born in it. 4. 5. 2. So it varies from 1 to 22 or lifetime, however old your body may be. Ladies, how many years have you been with the Hare Krishna movement? Come on, 1, 2, 3, 4. How many years? 2? 3. 3? 12? 3? So there's quite a few of you between 1 and 3 or 4 or 5 like that years. And already you're probably finding some unexpected challenges that come our way, isn't it? Sometimes when you first join you think it's all over. There's no more. It's all gone. All material problems are gone. False ego's finished. It's all one-way traffic now, straight ahead. And sometimes you see, call them what you will, obstacle if you want to call it that, those favored by God, Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj says, have their path set with thorns. Doesn't sound very inspiring, does it? Huh? Your path set with thorns. What type of path is this? I thought it was all bliss and, right? Just dance, chant, take prasadam and be happy for eternity, and you go back to Godhead, full stop. Nothing else to it. Well, in one sense, yes, if we're really on that absolute platform of anukulyena, nothing else. But sometimes there are some little aparabdhas, little unseen things that have to be dealt with. Even the parabdhas, those on the surface, sometimes become pretty tough to deal with. Young bodies living in the Western world, challenges are there on the path sometimes. And we may have to take a little turn sometimes, make a little adjustment. We may have to turn a little right or a little left, or step back and just see where we're going here and then move forward in the right gear. Well, that's the train. Train, huh? Quite a lot of trains pass by, I hear them. I was born on a train line, so I'm kind of like, every time I hear the sound of a train, it kind of, yeah, because I could almost jump on the train line from where I was born. Somehow I didn't do it. You would sit there taking train numbers all day long. Our hobby, stupid hobby, what to do. Free of all these things one day. It's not that bad. But sometimes tests are there, everyone knows we don't have to go into depth of detail what some of the tests that you face are. As long as we've got some false ego. Anyone here has any false ego? None? No false ego? None. Okay. You have two false egos. Ladies, you have any false ego? No? No false ego? Ego we all have, but unfortunately in contact with the material world it becomes false ego. False ego. We think with the body, we think I'm right, we think I'm important, we think I'm good, whatever damn thing we think. This thing, that thing, and anything that gets in the way of our false ego becomes a challenge. And we could go down that path. There's a whole subject matter in it itself of, facing various challenges, but sometimes we have to make a turn. What do you do when you have faced with those situations? Maybe the false ego is showing its ugly face, or whatever, material desires becoming strong, unexpectedly strong. I don't know if you'll find any devotee in this movement who hasn't faced one thing or another in this regards and had to do the needful. What is the needful? Just ignore it. It's possible. It is possible. It's not always so easy. It's possible. As long as you can, just take shelter of the chant, dance, take prasadam and be blissful. Just carry on through thick and thin. Fine. If you can do that. What the needful? That's also the needful. What we do when we're in difficulty. We're always in difficulty. Isn't it? Being in this body is always in a difficult situation. It's unnatural. So what do we do?
Reveal one's mind to devotees.
That's a practical thing, isn't it? To reveal our mind in confidence. Dati pratigunati guyamakyati prachati. To reveal your mind in confidence. And that's not always so easy. Not always so easy. Not always so easy. Maybe you've had some bad experience there also. It makes it even more challenging. We're not that advanced. We don't care what anyone thinks of us, no matter what. Let me be dragged through the streets, and beaten in marketplaces or something. You were caught, whatever, doing something. I saw you looking in the donut shop yesterday. You were going to be punished severely. I know what you were thinking. You're still attached to donuts, aren't you? For this, 50 days fasting. No prasadam. Cold drip on your forehead all night long so you can't sleep either. And made to work all day long until you drop. Such a serious offense. We caught you looking in a donut shop. Who hasn't looked in a donut shop in America? It's like national food, isn't it? Donuts. Famous, at least around the world. America's famous for donuts. Funny name. Anyway, we've all got certain, it's not quite that severe, but something we have to take into account. So that's one thing. Revealing your mind in confidence. Prabhu, I've got this terrible problem. I don't know what to do about it. I still like donuts. I tell you, there's a lot worse things. Like, you can offer donuts to Krishna, by the way, if they're, like in New York, many of you were in New York, you saw that, what's it called, donut plant?
Yeah.
Donut plant.
Yeah.
Difficult to resist once you get the taste, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you tasted it. They like melt in your mouth, they're like a super gulab or something. Donut gulab. You tried it, you Swedish? You Swedes? You never did. You have to stay in America, longer, and you get the time to go to New York. I'm not saying, I'm only kind of half joking here, but you get the point, But there's much worse things than that, isn't it? Most pervasive things. What are some of the most pervasive challenges you face in our efforts to practice devotional service? Don't be shy about it. There's scriptural statements are there. Yes? Pride. Well, pride is like, you could say in one sense, is an inseparable presence as long as one is still in any way conditioned, isn't it? No matter how advanced we are, there's going to be an element of pride there. There's bound to be. I mean, what is pride? What is? Now they have Gay Pride Day here. Isn't that a terrible thing?
They did it huge on books there.
Who? Who did it? You guys did the Gay Pride Day on book distribution.
They're our best gay preachers.
Oh, we've had so many. I'll tell you, a little funny for the ladies, this one, I'll tell you. But about 15 years ago, we had a brahmachari convention in Europe. And Prahlad Nanda Maharaj asked me to kind of like help host it in the UK. And we had about 80 brahmacharis came from all over UK, England, and there aren't many in most countries, but altogether it came to about 80 came. And it was nice, kind of intense. A few sannyasis were there. Chandramauli. I was just basically busy. I was just doing things. Chandramauli Maharaj was there, and Prahlad Nanda Maharaj was there. Maybe someone else, I can't remember. But 5 days at the manor. So the last day was the grand finale. We were going to go on a Maha Harinam in London on Saturday evening. I don't know if you've ever been to London on Saturday night, but there's a lot of Times Square's like that a bit, but I don't know about Adanta, I have no idea. But London is like, oh my goodness, the whole city is like teeming with people. Teeming. People everywhere. Millions of people come to London. And that night, and nobody knew, none of us knew. We couldn't get in the city centre. What's going on here? It's Gay Pride Day. The city centre, they'd had their parade, and now they're having their ride, Pride, whatever. And at night time, the whole streets were blocked just for them. The whole city centre, there were millions of them, just shoulder to shoulder in the like 5 square kilometers of the city centre or something. You could only go around the outside. You literally couldn't get in. It was like shoulder to shoulder, like sardine can. And oh my goodness, what a scene. It was quite a challenge for the brahmacharis on their last day. Not that they're gay, but just the whole scene is like so weird, It's like, what is this, We came Harinam, and it's like millions. Weird, huh? What to do? I remember one guy, I was on the outside, the Soho Street, our temple at Soho Street, then was right, the square, Soho Square was one of their key hangouts, key places. Next door, the pub was one of the most famous in UK for it. Old area, you know. It's like, and as it couldn't go into Soho Street, at the end of Soho Street, we were going by on Oxford Street. We could go so far, then we had to turn around. And I never forget this guy. He came up and he was like half naked and chubby, short, chubby guy. And he said, "I am my body!" And he turned around and revealed his, I don't want to say what he revealed. "I am my body," he said. Oh my God. What a state. We had the same thing in Paris. We went on Harinam. 8 miles long, the parade. 8 miles long. Went on for 3 hours. We couldn't get out. We didn't know we were stuck there. It was just me and one other devotee. The rest of the Harinam party couldn't get there. They arrived like an hour or two late because they couldn't get in. We were early birds. The early birds catch the worm, as they say. So we were the lucky ones. But, it was like, what a scene. Just so eye-opening to the illusion of this material world. How pride, and they even use the word pride. I mean, you don't have to be proud, by the way. If one has that tendency, it's not by any means a disqualification. But if pride is there, doesn't matter who we are, we know what an obstacle that is to progress in spiritual life. Yeah. It's a good opportunity to become humble, actually. And the qualification for Krishna consciousness is, in one sense, primarily is genuine humility, isn't it? Dainya. What is real humility? That's another thing, but humility is the real essence of the quality of a Vaishnava, humility. So whatever our karmic condition may be, so be it. But if humility is there, it's not at all an obstacle for one's progress in spiritual life. It can be favorable, more than normal. You may get proud of being whatever you think you are. So pride, very big obstacle. How do we deal with pride? Whatever other things can be said, how do we deal with pride? We're going off the target here, but it's all related. But can we continue with this verse tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, because I won't touch on what I was thinking of speaking. I'm just speaking spontaneously. What is pride? I mean, we already touched a little bit. What is what is pride, first of all? What is it?
False conception that think that you're the doer.
The false conception with the doer. Say more.
You think you're bigger than you are.
You think you're bigger than you are. And yes, Prabhu.
Positioning yourself above others.
What's that one?
Positioning yourself above others.
Thinking yourself above others. Trying to put yourself in an elevated position. I think it'd be good to think of a few more definitions. I don't know what more comes to mind. Even materialists sometimes come up with some really good definitions of these type of things, I can't remember. I've read these things. But, so many ways you can look at this. Pride. Even though you're wrong, you can't step down sometimes, isn't it? You're having an argument about something completely useless. But you won't back off. You won't back off. You'll fight till death. Right? Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, isn't it, tells the story of the scissors and the knife, isn't it? You've all heard that, I'm sure. The scissors never give up. Neither of them gives up. They fight with each other till death, literally till death. Eventually the knife wins and throws the scissors in the river. Poor scissors are drowning in the river, and still they come up every now and again. Blug, 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 scissors. Blug, 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 scissors. Blug, 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 scissors. Blug, 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 blug. We won't give up till death. Trying to put ourselves in the center as the doer, the enjoyer. And we measure everything in relation with ourselves. We judge everything around us. This is good, this is bad. This is all due to pride. Pride, seeing ourselves in the center as the most important thing that exists. which factually speaking, every living entity thinks more or less. We talk about others, this and that, and the other bit's all in relation to ourselves. We're the center point. Huh? He's looking up at the definition. No. Yeah. And Krishna tests us in devotional service, and sometimes he gives us good results on Sankirtan. Sometimes you get proud, or you're doing Bhakti Shastri, or something, you get top, or whatever it may be. There's a danger that little pride shows up a little bit more than healthy, so to speak. So what do we do? Reveal your mind in confidence is, of course, one thing, is another thing, but it's like, this is a general point, it's not like a specific one.
Serve the Vaishnavas.
Pardon?
Serve the Vaishnavas.
Okay, that's a practical serving the Vaishnavas. You can also get proud of that. Why is no one else doing it? I'm the only one doing it around here, you know. Everyone's lazy. I'm doing all this service and no one's even noticing it, you know. And what's the point? So many different ways you can be tricked. What else?
Wash the pots.
Hands up. Yeah, finger up.
Read Prabhupada's books.
Okay, reading Prabhupada's books, that keeps us on our toes, with intelligence a little bit, to sort of see things in perspective a little bit more, isn't that? You can even become proud of that, you know, that's not impossible, by the way. You know, I've read 85 books, or, you know, how many times have you read books? We had a scene in ISKCON about 20, 30 years ago. There was this big fad, especially during Kartik. 64 rounds a day. 64 rounds a day, and it was like, you know, first thing that we said, class, so devotees, how many rounds did you chant yesterday? The Kadashi was mainly for the Kadashi. How many rounds did you chant, Prabhu? 24. Never mind, keep trying. How many rounds did you chant? 64. Well done. Well done. Anyone else do 64? Very good. Everyone else, just keep trying for it. Or more. They stay up all night. You know, different things like this. You know, the next day, Prabhu, and you save all the maha, of course. Where's the maha? Sorry, Prabhu, I'm too tired to do any service today. I've got to catch up from yesterday's rata. So, you know, even that, you know, you say chanting, yes, but in that mentality, it doesn't really help remove pride. It increases it. Increases it sometimes. Go on forever like this. So what else can we do?
Pray to Krishna.
Pray, that's a nice one, isn't it? That's what this is, that's where we're coming to here. The Lord in the heart, is give you that guidance, Tesham Satati Yuktanam, as we just heard. It's interesting, we take the verse, we're going to touch on this and we'll touch on the other things later, tomorrow maybe. But the verse indicates that, you know, Vidura is asking Maitreya, I mean, maybe I got the wrong understanding. What do you think? Let's read it again. He was situated. O great sage, please give me instruction on the transcendental devotional service of the Lord. That's the direction, what to take, the process. So that he who is situated in the heart of everyone can be pleased to impart from within knowledge of the absolute truth in terms of the ancient Vedic principles delivered only to those who are purified by the process of devotional service. So there seems to be two things here. One is the process of devotional service, which is given by the devotee, pure devotee in this case, or the guide, gives the process, and the Lord in the heart is doing something else. What is he doing? He can also do that as Chaitya Guru, but what is he doing specifically? I don't know if you'll find it on the board or not, I'm not sure. Huh?
He's giving us remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness.
He's giving us that for sure. He's that inside the heart. But in terms of the process, what's he doing?
Giving us realization.
Huh?
Realization.
He's giving you realizations, that's a fact. Realizations come in different ways. But ultimately it's within the heart that we get realizations. What else is he giving or doing? If you follow the process of devotional service nicely, what happens? Well, that's the end, isn't it? That's the final tip. Pardon?
He removes the anarchy.
Yeah. Okay, there's a ground level one. Huh? That's a practical one, isn't it? Removal of anarthas. What's wrong with anarthas? They're nice, aren't they? Donuts are good, and we already heard how nice donuts were earlier on. What's wrong with sex life? People say that all the time. Even, the half-baked devotees say the same thing. Excuse the term. Huh? What was that? They're too far away, I can't hear.
Servant of the servant.
Pardon? What's wrong with anarthas? Was that the question? I can't remember what it was now.
Yeah, that was your question.
Uh-huh.
They're
What's
not
wrong?
wanted.
Pardon?
We don't, they're not, anartha is something.
Most people want them. Maybe we sort of half, sometimes a little bit more this way and that way. Unfavorable for Krishna consciousness. Okay, why? They're like clouds, huh? Krishna Surya Maya Andakara. Krishna, the sun's there, but the clouds cover our vision. Huh? Anarthas. Artha means valuable. Artha, value. Anartha means no value, as you said. Oh, it depends, everyone looks at it differently because of false ego, because of pride. We all see it differently, and people have their different arguments and different perspectives on that one. But for an aspiring devotee, we understand what is artha. You're reading every day the Nectar of Instruction. So one verse is Atyahara Priyasascha. That's the arthas, right? Those are favorable things. Pajapunya Magraha. That's the favorable one, isn't it? I thought that was the favorable one. Oh my God! I got what? Now I know what my problem is. I got it wrong. I thought those were the favorable ones. Prajalpa, eating too much, criticizing others, being greedy, trying to put yourself in the center, associating with mundane things. I thought these were all good, favorable points. They're not, okay. All right. So they're subtle and gross anarthas, which just don't please Krishna. Basically, amongst the anarthas we also have aparadha, or vice versa. Aparadha literally means that which doesn't please Radharani. Doesn't please her. Aparadha. So the whole point is to ultimately please Krishna, isn't it? So you find out what pleases Krishna by finding out. You don't speculate. You can't trick Krishna. He knows what's going on. We might trick each other. You can't trick Krishna. We find out what we can do to awaken that. We may not, it's like a baby growing up. One or two of you have had kids. Child in the beginning doesn't really have any, you don't expect very much from a baby, from a child. Child will scream and cry and poo and do all kinds of things. You don't get on the child's case for that. Why don't you behave properly? You're not going to say that. But when the child grows up a little bit, look at that picture of Prabhupada in Boston. Huh? No, Butler. When that little boy, Bridge, his name was Bridge, Gopal and Sali's son, huh? Bridge. Prabhupada was there when he took his first 2 steps. And most Prabhupada was so happy to see, he was clapping. Encouraging him. Not a big achievement in one sense. Wow! Headlines of the news, for the family it is the headlines of their news. It's a big thing, isn't it? First 2 steps. You become like that when you're old, by the way, as well, When you're, on your last legs, if you can take 2 steps, that's a big achievement. If you can take 1 morsel of food, that's a big achievement. If you can say 1 word, it's a big achievement. If you can breathe, it's a big achievement. It kind of goes back into reverse gear again. But anyway, you see the point. As we're advancing, we're trying to. Little baby steps. Bird Jumper always uses the word baby steps. Don't try to run before you can walk, so they say. Know what you've got to do. So that's an important point. Sometimes pride, we want to try to show ourselves, we want to be, as we heard yesterday, we want to be Raghunath Das Goswami or something, a little bit premature, This word premature, I've said it, many of you have heard it before, it's a very interesting word. Premature. I don't know where they get this word from, but I say the word premature means prema too early. Prematurely.
Prema too early, yes.
Prematurely, prema too early.
Yeah.
The goal is prema, but you're not ready for it yet. Prematurely. Interesting, huh? English language has lots of words like this, which seem to have a deeper meaning than meets the eye. It certainly applies in our devotion. Goal is prema, but sometimes we try to jump over. Huh? We heard jumping into Radhakund and think we've got prema or something by associating with whoever it may be. But it doesn't work like that. It's the Lord in the heart has to, He's the guide at this point of time. Our goal is Radha Krishna prema. But we've got to act in a way which is appropriate to our adhikar, our level of advancement in Krishna consciousness, knowing the goal, and of course hear from more advanced devotees, even sometimes on topics beyond our digestibility, so to speak. So we don't try to digest it, but it's good to know what the future, what the path leads to, blind followers, but at least have that knowledge. But the practical application of that which is relevant. Knowledge can be very dangerous if we don't know what is relevant. What is relevant to our own situation. So the association of devotees and the process of devotional service and in revealing your mind in confidence and in approaching or praying to the Lord for guidance, all this is important. And if you're sincere, Krishna sees the sincerity of purpose, even if we make mistakes. The sincerity of purpose is there, that we do want to change. The desire for change must be there. The desire must be in our hearts. We want to change. We don't want to maintain things as they are. Some point of time, that realization needs to be a little bit more prominent than just words only, but a genuine endeavor in that what is required for that change to take place. That's too big a topic to venture into, and it's a detailed one in some cases, general and specifics. What else can we do, Mr. Pride? I want to continue with that one. Who mentioned prayer? Somebody mentioned prayer. You mentioned prayer, okay? And that's very important to bear that in mind in one sense. There's prayer and there's something we call prayer, but they're not always the same, are they? It's like a mechanical thing, and then there's heartfelt prayers. By the way, Shastric prayers can also be heartfelt. It's not you just ramble them off just for the sake of it. They should be relevant and with meaning also. But it's the feeling. You see in Queen Kunti, in her prayers, it's the sincere feeling which is really the essence there. Sincerely feeling. You're sick, she's sick. Devahuti, the same thing. In the prayers we heard, not prayers, but we heard the teachings of Lord Kapila yesterday, how Devahuti said she's sick of this duality, this false ego and such. Sick of it. And in one sense, one has to become sick of all of this. And then, when you're really sick, what can you do? You can't do anything. You've got to depend on the doctor or some medicine or somebody or another. And you really just have to surrender. Can't do much about it. It's not easy. So when we actually feel this sickness, we're sick of all these damn things that keep coming and pestering us. Attachments to this and that and the things we did in the past. And, it's like we're sick of it. We're sick of our tendency to criticize others. We're sick of our tendency to look at others for sense pleasure. We're sick of trying to, establish ourselves as better than others, or whatever it may be. It may be because of past karma and whatever it be, association in this world. We have these tendencies or these coverings in our hearts, but we're sick of it. So we pray, fervently pray, sincerely pray. As Bhakti Vinod Thakur, I think said, it's impossible. Just to take one example, sometimes when you chant the holy name of Krishna during japa, I've heard that some devotees' minds wander when they chant. I don't know if it's true or not. I've heard it.
True.
Is it true?
Yeah.
Sometimes they wander. No, I don't think that's true. They always wander. Sometimes you wonder if you started your japa or not. Well, 16 beads have been moved down the thread, so I guess I finished my japa for today. It means we haven't even started, he said. He said, it's impossible, he said, Though impossible is a word in a fool's dictionary, Prabhupada said, well, we are fools, so I guess it's in our dictionary. It is impossible for the jiva to single-handedly control the illusion of inattention. Impossible. Where mind is, whoop, you can't stop it. But it's impossible to stop it. But only by the mercy of Krishna is this possible. Therefore, one must fervently pray to the Lord for His mercy. This is the only way to overcome this tendency. We can try what we may, but ultimately it depends on Krishna. Not that we shouldn't make another effort as well, but ultimately it depends. Mother Yasoda made a lot of effort to bind up Krishna. So much effort. She was on her last, literally, her last legs when Krishna, and that's what he's seeing us, how determined we are. But ultimately it depends on His mercy. Our determination alone is to be seen, but ultimately everything depends on Krishna's mercy. So we approach Krishna. Back to your point, if you go back to the Bhagavatam, earlier in the Bhagavatam, later in the Bhagavatam, 5th canto, I think in the 2nd canto also, Lord Brahma. Let's take Lord Brahma first. Lord Brahma, when he had, we're given quotas. Do you have quotas here? Do you give the devotee quotas on book distribution at all? Not.
In the marathon we had.
The marathon, okay, so whatever. But you have your targets, you have your duties. How many of you are going for book distribution today? Looks like you're alone. Not settled yet. It's not been sorted. So maybe some of you are going on book distribution today, and you've obviously got some target, some desires, some intention, some whatever, some inspiration, initiative, something or another. You may not set a number, but some, you got some purpose for going. And everyone has some duty, some objective in life. Maybe you ladies are making up packets today, are you? The Saptarishi packs or anything? What are they doing today?
The men are packing.
The men are the packers today, okay. Yeah, all packers. All packers? No, all packers. All packers. So, backpackers. So whatever you're doing, you have a service to perform. And believe me, my first service in the temple was making incense as a guest. The first service was honoring prasadam. But when it came to practical service, I'd never been to a temple before, never seen a devotee before. So I stayed there for about 9 hours, 10 hours first day, and did everything on kirtan, heard class, took prasadam, went on. No, my first service was Harinam Sankirtan. Straight after prasadam, they took me out on Harinam Sankirtan on the street, of Oxford Street, and then more prasadam and this thing, that thing, and there's kirtan class, and in between that they asked me to make incense. I had to assist in packing them putting them in packets, 5, 10, 15, 20. I soon discovered I was really expert at it, and I was doing more than anyone else around me after no time. And I thought, I'm really good at this. I hope everybody notices how good I am. Even things like that, can come up, little things. How well I tie my sikha, how nice and neat my dhoti is. I've got the best neck beads around here. My mug, my milk mug is the best milk mug in the ashram. There's no end of things you can get caught up with, Your nice shiny head. My head's shinier than anyone else's. Looking around, I think Mahananda wins this morning. Look at his shiny head. You can see a reflection on his head. If you look there, you can see your own face on there. Looking in the mirror, 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 and Prahlad Nanamach's favorite phrase. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Next line. It's a famous verse. Where's this from? Alice in Wonderland or something? Who's the fairest of them all? Me! It's me. There I am in the mirror. Yeah. You're an exception to the rule. I can see that. You don't have to tell me that. I can see that. Anyone can see that one. I think that's why you're so good on Sankirtan, They take pity on you.
Yeah, probably not. That's what
I'm just trying to
Help
put
you
your,
black man.
I'm just trying to help your false ego a little bit here, that's all. You know, it's easy to get carried away by these things, isn't it? So what did Lord Brahma do? He didn't have much of a task. What did he have to serve prasadam, wasn't it? Wasn't that what Krishna told him to do? Just serve Lord
Yeah.
Brahma. He just said, just serve prasadam to the other living entities. There weren't any, by the way, at that point, but just didn't have anything to do at all, really. What did he have to do?
Tapa.
Huh?
Tapa.
Tap dance,
That's right.
tap dance. That's their tapa. Tap dance. What was his tapa? Oh, well, he did a tapa, but I mean, what was the service he was given?
To make,
Huh? Yeah, to recreate or create the universe. Visharga, secondary creators. Quite a task, isn't it? Have you ever tried managing a temple?
Yeah.
Now I know where you're on book distribution. You ever tried managing a temple?
Tried, yeah.
You could really surrender, isn't it? It's not all roses. I mean, it's probably a lot easier here in many ways. It's kind of simpler program, but somewhere like New Mayapur, you know, it's like, my God. We couldn't get anyone in ISKCON to come there to manage that temple. Nobody. No GBC, no sannyasi, no spirit, nobody. And we got young devotees managing it. They're so surrendered. But it's like so complex, you know. It's not just, it doesn't sound it so much. You don't know what's going on under the scenes. It's quite a sacrifice. You have no choice but to pray every day. Pray, pray, and pray. The temple presence, always praying for guidance, strength, whatever it may be. And we should all be like that, really. It's not easy. Not easy thing. So what Lord Brahma, can you imagine having a task? I mean, in a sense, you've got to rebuild the place. So Lord Brahma had to recreate, let's just do a secondary creation. He had to recreate the universe again. Okay, he's got some experience, but it's a pretty big task, isn't it? Pretty big. You're renovating the temple soon. But he had to renovate the whole universe with raw materials. And I don't know if he didn't have anyone to begin with, really, Krishna, but he was sparring him how to do it. Then he had other people to help once he created them. You've got to make people to help you to spread this movement. Challenge. Prabhupada came alone to America. Did he come with a formula? Did he come with, millions and billions of dollars and a huge organization behind him? What did he come with?
Holy name and Bhagavatam.
The holy name. Prabhupada said, I didn't come with the Bhagavatam. Exactly. Yeah, Prabhupada said that. He said, we look at it sometimes, he brought the Bhagavatam. Prabhupada said, the Bhagavatam brought me. It wasn't that, I brought the Bhagavatam brought me. The holy name brought me. Sometimes we think we have something. We don't even have that. And by their mercy, we're brought. Don't think, I made a devotee, I'm special, this, that, the other. A little false ego there. That, it's all Krishna's mercy, all the devotees' mercy. And if ever you read, there's a wonderful poem, and there are many wonderful poems, but one which stands out, Markandeya Bhagavat Dharma. We were just in Boston, and I was pointing out to Mahananda the Commonwealth Pier. From the airplane, we flew right over the Commonwealth Pier and said, there it is. That's where Prabhupada landed, down there, right that pier. And that's where he wrote Markandeya Bhagavat Dharma, right there in the Commonwealth Pier, on board the Jaladuta alone, in his cabin, on the morning of the 18th of September, before they set voyage to New York. So what is that poem? I know what I'm doing. I've got it all sussed. I know. Was it like that?
No.
Isn't that a manifestation of absolute humility?
Yeah.
You read that again and again. That's what can keep you a little bit on course. As the boat can go a little bit off course, it's difficult to bring it back if we go too far off course. See? Confirmed. Confirmed by the train engine. Sound like a boat. They sound like boats over here in America. The trains sound like boat foghorns, So that poem of Prabhupada is so significant. So significant. So we can sing it tonight if you like,
Let's do it.
and go through it. Would that be nice? Okay. Try to. We have a harmonium player here. Last night someone played nicely.
Chandana Sher, who is expert.
Very nice harmonium. Thank you for that.
Yeah, he's best man.
Whatever you decide, I don't mind. As long as you can keep tune. I see you're very expert at following even frog sounds. You're pretty expert. So, prayer. Lord Brahma prayed in the course of his creation, he not become overwhelmed with pride. So easy to become proud. So easy. We're already proud. That's why we're in this material world. Envy and pride. What's the difference? Just the same coin, really. Just a different form. Just the opposite side of the same coin. Envy, pride. Envy, another. Which comes out perhaps a little bit more easy to define, easy to ascertain. Sometimes, but they're both coming from same source of this. Seeing oneself separate from Krishna, thinking you can enjoy separately from Krishna. Envy and pride. And Priyavata also was, of course he wanted to renounce the world. His father, Swayambhuv Manu, was getting worried, oh God, if you renounce it, then where do I stand? Am I going to retire, It's like that sometimes you train someone up to take over your post and then they leave. Go away and you're stuck there. You're stuck there wondering what to do now, You spent a year training them up and bop. A little bit like that with Prabhupada. I mean, he had to keep going almost to the end. He wanted devotees to take it over so that he could focus on his inner business, the inner mission, the Bhagavatam, and the inner aspect or the inner purpose of our movement. External mission is obvious. Many details are involved. But the inner mission is another thing altogether. That cleansing of the inner heart and where to go on that path. So all these various aspects are there, obstacles on our path of devotion. Association is a key, so prayer, dependence on the Lord, association of devotees. Willingness, willingness to be corrected, that's another one, isn't it? Now, we've all experienced that. I mean, sometimes you have to, almost it's like terrifying to try to correct some devotees sometimes. They're going to just punch you in the face as soon as you speak almost. You're chanting japa, someone's obviously asleep. They've woken everyone else up by their snoring. But they still insist that they're not sleeping and you should mind your own business, You should concentrate on your own japa. Your japa's lousy. Why are you disturbing me? I've seen extremes like that. Not so usual. Usually not that extreme, but that's like an extreme. But oftentimes we feel like offended when somebody tries to correct us, We should be very happy to be corrected. When Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, when his own Guru Maharaj left the world, Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj, what did one of the things he said in this regards? Who knows?
Who will correct me?
Who will correct me now? Who will put me straight? We should be eager. Actually, everything that happens in our life has this, and this is the Lord in the heart. Don't think that any situation is happening by simply somebody else's nuisance. It's that nasty person has made this arrangement. I've got to get my own back on them. It doesn't work like that. That means we're still in gross maya, illusion. Krishna's guiding every wanderings of every living entity. The situation we find ourselves in is what it's meant to be in one sense. There's a beautiful purport, 10.14.8 in the Bhagavatam, isn't there? Vedananda Maharaj and other devotees, that's one of the most famous purports that they shared. It's based upon the comments of Sridhar Swami and Vishwanath Chakravarti and others. Oh, they're putting it up. I say, every now and again I see everyone looking in that direction. It usually means someone comes through the door. But in here it means someone is coming on the screen. Go down further. 10.14.8. I don't know what you've got there, but so I can't see. That looks like a calendar. Well, he purport in the Nectar of Devotion is there, but this purport, go further. Well, you need a purport. It'd be difficult to find. I mean, I'll be forever more looking at it. It's so small screen. When you have the book, you can find it immediately. It takes half a second. But let's not worry about it now. It basically describes how, for a devotee, you sometimes find yourself in difficult situations. And you think it's karma, you might think it's someone else's, misbehavior. We tend to blame others, don't we? Isn't that sometimes the case? I not say we always do, but sometimes we look for some, external cause of our difficulties, maybe even whatever it may be. There may be some influence there of health or weather or other people, all these things, and we tend to resort to often blaming somebody for our own difficulties. It's the temple presence fault. The GBC, my guru, the guru's fault, These tendencies are there, or the other devotees, they don't care for me. So many things we tend to blame on others. It's a common default. It's quite a common default. But they're described in a book, I'll find it. I'd like to, be nice to read, maybe sometime. But how, for a devotee, we don't blame anyone. As soon as you come to the point of not blaming anyone else for your situation, you can start making some progress. As long as we're blaming others for our issues, our difficulties, we're stuck in the mud. We're stuck in the mud. We're like, trying to walk stuck in thick mud. It's very difficult to progress. So whatever happens to a devotee is Krishna's arrangement. Devotee sees it like this. Of course, that verse itself, Tatteno Kampam Susamikshamanan, is the guideline for all devotees in our Krishna consciousness movement. Prabhupada writes that in the Nectar of Devotion. Very significant verse, very significant. That was also spoken by Lord Brahma. Very significant. And they're described, whatever is, Krishna's personally arranging a situation. It's not this other guy, or that woman who came along, or whatever man who came along, or whatever it is. Krishna's personally making an arrangement. Why? Is he just having fun to tease us or to see us suffer? To keep us in illusion? No. A situation to try to remove the very cause of our being in illusion in the first place. And if we see it in relationship with Krishna, like the verse itself gives us a clue, then you start getting realizations. Krishna will give realizations of the situation. We'll start to see ourselves rather than, whatever we're seeing in the mirror or whatever we're thinking about others. We'll start to see things a little bit more from a different perspective. Shastra Chakshus. So seeing things a little differently. A very important verse in purport. Study it. It makes a world of difference in our lives. As Prabhupada said, this is the guide for all devotees in our Krishna consciousness movement. That's Prabhupada's words. So try to apply that in all of our lives, in our activities, and it can help a lot to overcome this false ego. There are many other verses, similar nature, I guess, but that one's one that comes to mind. So we're getting late, probably. I don't see a clock anywhere. 9 o'clock? What's the time?
9.
I just guessed 9. Is it exactly 9?
Yeah. Exactly 9.
Total guess. Krishna in the heart, that's all it is. Now I'm proud. I have this tendency, I have a very excellent ability to guess the time throughout my life. I never used a watch for decades. And I'm very proud of it. But see, it's another thing, isn't it? I wear a watch now, but I don't look at it unless I need to. Proud of directions. I was out studying navigation and things amongst my studies. So different things we get proud of, whatever mundane qualities we may have for our karmic reason. Difficult. Sometimes you have to be careful not to become proud. Humility. Dainya is the essence of our devotional practices. Humility. Find out what humility means. I'm going to read you one definition, if I can find it, of humility, which is an unusual one, spoken by Srila Prabhupada. Trying to get my notes together is hard work. I found the verses. I was going to say them tomorrow that I was telling you yesterday. I found it this morning, just before class.
Okay.
I was going to read it today, but it's too late, so we'll do it tomorrow. Krishna wills, we'll still have to see it tomorrow. Let's see. We have to sometimes also we get proud thinking I can find what I want, and then we can't find it. I can remember, and then we forget it. There's so many. Just like now, what am I going to say? It's something about humility. Let's go to humility. Here we go. Humility. Well, Prabhupada's normal definition of humility is, this is in the Bhagavad Gita 13:8. It says, humility means that one should not be anxious to have the satisfaction of being honored by others. The material conception of life makes us very eager to receive honor from others. But from the point of view of a man in perfect knowledge who knows that he is not the body, anything, honor or dishonor, pertaining to this body is useless. One should not be hankering after this material deception. People are very anxious to be famous for their religion. And consequently, sometimes it's found that without understanding the principles of religion, one enters into some group which is not actually following religious principles and then wants to advertise himself as a religious mentor. That's like a topic in itself, isn't it? But one of the symptoms is when you don't have any humility, you're threatened by others who've got a different so-called belief system. Feel threatened. You're insecure. It's not genuine humility there. Something's beginning childlike, not very advanced, and you try to put others down, you try to belittle others, you don't understand you don't even want to hear what they're saying. You can't understand even if they say. It says, realizing the truth of the Vedic statement, aham brahmasmi, is one meaning of humility. Pretty philosophical meaning, but if you actually realize that, that's pretty humbling. If you really understand, I am. That doesn't mean you are the supreme Brahman, but your spirit, to realize you're just sort of. One time one devotee asked Prabhupada, well, because Prabhupada sometimes, the spirit soul is a spark, right? Just like a spark out of the fire. So, Prabhupada, I mean, are we just a spark or what? In a spiritual world, Prabhupada said, what am I? Prabhupada said, you're a spark. You're a spark in the spiritual world. You want to be a spark? You're just a spark. What's a spark? It's like nothing. But if you're sparkling for Krishna, that's nice. In the material world, everyone's, they're trying to sparkle and show off. Whatever dull form we've got, we're trying to show it off, right? The spiritual world, you're sparkling for Krishna's pleasure. You like sparklers. People like, you've got November the 5th coming up soon. Oh, you don't do that in America, do you? It's a big thing in England. I think you're having an election on November the 5th. Yeah, no, is that right? Anyone keep up with the news? Someone told me November the 5th. In England, it's called Bonfire Night. That's the night they try to blow up the Houses of Parliament on November. That's the equivalent of your, what is it called here? Senate? What is it? The House of... White House. The day they try to blow up the White House, November the 5th. So it's going to be interesting. Anyway, sparklers, we have these things that, all the sparks come off, stick with something on it. Popular here? Sparklers. It's nice, everybody likes it. You're sparkling, it's beautiful. You sparkle for Krishna's pleasure. What's wrong with that?
Wow, it's amazing.
It can be a spark. Maybe a little bit more than that. Lord Chaitanya didn't come to give the mood of a sparkler. But anyway, but in one sense it's true. Everyone's bringing pleasure to Krishna. Srila Prabhupada, this is an amazing definition here, this next one. This was in Paris in, I think, 1972. They were on, 71. They were on a morning walk with Prabhupada. This was a walk. Hari Sori, you know Hari Sori in Seattle? He asked Prabhupada this question, what does it mean to be humble? And Prabhupada's answer was really incredible. He said, humility means that you are convinced beyond any doubt that there is nothing in this world, absolutely nothing in this world, not your money, nor your family, nor your fame, nor your gun. We're talking in America, everyone's got a gun. Not your education, nothing that will save you except the mercy of Krishna. When you are convinced like this, then you are humble. That's what Prabhupada said. That there's nothing else that can save us but Krishna's mercy. Nothing else. So that mercy of Krishna. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. So don't be afraid if an obstacle comes along. It's an opportunity to advance. It's an opportunity to take shelter of Krishna. Even when the mind wanders in japa, it's an opportunity to take shelter of Krishna. See it positively, not negatively. Damn these things. You can sometimes be like that. You want to spit at the thought, but that isn't enough in of itself. You become a Mayavadi. It's not our goal. We got to take shelter of Krishna. Only you can help me, my Lord. Please have mercy. I'm becoming distracted, attached to this, whatever it may be. Please be merciful. Please protect me. We have no capacity on our own, Krishna. Just this next minute we can be blind. You can be lame. You can forget everything on the spot. It's not within our power. It's not ours. We think it's ours. We identify with it. We think that's me. And this is the illusion we're in. Humility is completely, we're depending, whatever we think is ours, we're depending entirely upon Krishna. Whatever you want. Give me what Tenu Kumpam, whatever you wish, my Lord. That's humility, at least on a practical level, to understand. Okay. The books have arrived?
Yes, Lord.
How many pallets? We say pallets in the West. You know what a pallet is?
Yeah.
I want to go and see them. I'm excited. I never forget. We were together. We were driving together, wasn't it, Mananda, about two years ago? Exactly, almost to the day. It's almost to the day. It was October 22 when the Bhagavatams arrived in New
I saw
Mayapur.
that picture.
You saw the pictures?
Yeah, in France.
Oh, we were driving around for hours. The day before, many of us, the driver didn't speak a word of English or French.
Whoa.
They were from Ukraine, and they were driving a Lithuanian truck, which was in Belgium, being sent to France to deliver the Bhagavatams.
It's amazing.
It'd already been a year and a half of a battle to get this book ready. COVID, this thing, that thing, everything just hijacked the whole thing. Did the war start in 2022 in Ukraine? It did, didn't it? 2022.
I have no idea.
Yeah, 22. So that also interfered. All the paper, everything was hijacked. Everything. They had a fire in Korshna's Guard. Do you remember that? That horrible dump. What was it? Waste. Huh?
Yeah, there was a dump, like trash.
Yeah, and they had all this untouchable stuff there, and it was burning and poisonous fumes coming out. The BBT was like crippled for a month or two. They couldn't work on it. One thing after another was coming up. It just seemed like it would never happen. Then the ship got stuck in the Suez Canal. There was some crazy thing happened in the Suez Canal. One ship ran blocked the Suez Canal. Another month's delay getting through there. It was like never-ending obstacles. Then it got stuck. It got ported in Portugal or something on its way to London. It had to change. It was unlimited things going on. It never ended. It seemed like it was never. And then it eventually arrived in Belgium, but they couldn't get it to. There was no vehicles anywhere they could find to take it to France. It was like they couldn't get a vehicle. Eventually got this Lithuanian vehicle, which was driven by a Ukrainian who didn't speak a word of English or French.
That's amazing.
And he drove this vehicle, and he didn't know where he was going. And he was driving around because he was using Google Maps. But Google Maps, if you put the address in there, it doesn't take you to New Mayapur. It takes you somewhere else.
Where does it take you?
In those days, they've corrected it. He was going, the postcode was taking him miles away. And we're driving around, several of us, for hours on end, trying to see if we can find. They wouldn't even tell us what the truck looked like. We weren't able to phone the driver. The owners would not allow you to contact the driver. So we were just looking, and I actually saw the truck, but I didn't know it was the truck. And he went that way, and I went that way, and we were both stopped. And I didn't, we were just didn't know what to do. It was just everywhere. Nothing was happening. And eventually, we managed to get some contact through the truck owners, and they managed to say, okay, at 6 o'clock in the morning, if you're there, he'll be in this place. You be there. So we went 6 o'clock in the morning, and it was pouring with rain. It was like one of those days, woof. And we're driving, Manand and myself, down this hill, and we got a picture of the vehicle, and I said, that coming down from the other side, and we met right at the crossroads in the middle. It's a roundabout, going roundabout, and there it was, and then, waving out the window, come, and the driver's recognizing us, and he followed us all the way back to New Mayapur. Exactly the same place he was the day before, but we didn't recognize him. Almost the same spot. So like this, it was a real saga, and when we arrived, what an experience. Pouring with rain, unloading those trucks. A neighboring farmer, because he had no forklift, and we have no forklift either. The truck had no forklift. So our neighbor, 22 pallets of books, and something like that. And the local neighbor farmer came over with his forklift tractor and unloaded all the books into our first books to come into our warehouse, these Bhagavatams. Yeah, it was amazing, absolutely amazing experience.
How many Bhagavatams were there?
We got about 1,000 sets came to us. 2,000 were printed, about 1,000 came to us. Yeah.
How many are left?
Well, they've got 900 left in BLS in Belgium, the latest stock check, because not many others distribute them, you see. Mainly it's just us in France. And we've got about 300 or 400 left. We've done about 500. We've done 500, so we must have had about 850 or something. We've done about 500 sets in the last 2 years, I guess, altogether, something like that. So that we sold 200 sets before they arrived.
Whoa.
As they came, we were expecting them a year before. So we got people to pay in advance the books that were not even printed, 200 sets. So they were distributed really quickly at the end of that year. And then last year we did about 250, and we've done about 120 this year, I think. No, more than that. Yeah, about 120 so far this year. Whatever that comes to, 450, 570.
Didn't have.
Huh?
I know some French devotees asked me if we had French Bhagavatams a couple of years ago.
Where?
Anyway, someone online, someone from France, someone was asking.
Yeah, well, what can we say? BLS distributes usually to those who want them sent, because we can't send them from France. It costs more than the cost of the book. We have to send them from Germany. It's a quarter of the price to send them from Germany. We just sent 15 sets to Africa, for the French-speaking African areas. We have to do it from Germany, not from France. So many wonderful things, exciting. The funniest thing of all was when the driver arrived, he didn't know where he was going even, and he saw we were Hare Krishnas. He was such a nice guy, he was working like anything to get those books in there. Then afterwards we were talking, some of our devotees were from Ukraine, so they were speaking to him in Ukrainian, and he said, I know you people in Ukraine. One of my friends became a Hare Krishna. I really like you people. I really like you guys. Wow. And he said, and we bought him nice prashadam. And he said, please give me some service. He spent the whole morning washing the pots.
Amazing.
After unloading, he took prashadam, and then he went in the kitchen, down in the pot room, and washed the pots for about 3 hours.
Amazing.
Krishna sent him. Yeah, it was unreal. The whole thing was like unreal. It just didn't seem to be of this world. Incredible experience. An not ordinary experience. Yeah. Hare Krishna. He was, I would say, genuinely, other than being a devotee, but a person with, such a potential to be a devotee, such a humble, from a practical point of view, such a humble person. So nice. Probably drinks beer and eats meat, but aside from all of that, his attitude was just extraordinary. How can you be a truck driver if you don't drink liquor? I don't know how they can do it, you know. Such a heavy service. They're all crazy to do. Crazy world. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premanand. So this evening, with your permission, Markandeya Bhagavat Dharma.
Jai. Hridoyananda Maharaj ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And then tomorrow.